Hey guys, new video here. Get asked a lot, played Cyclone to 100 a few times now, and want to make a kind of a thoughts on the build video. And so here it is. Before I get into it, I'd like to show you some gameplay, and so I'm gonna watch like a very quick video before I go into my guide, so you guys can kind of see like what's going on with the build, and if it's even something that you want to play. Okay, so I'm gonna make this video a little bit bigger, and then after we watch it, we'll go over my thoughts on the build as well.
How's it going, Whisper? So today I'd like to show you the full build guide for the Headhunter Cyclone. The build is very expensive, however once you get it going you can carry other people in the 5-way emblem fights, and it's currently one of the best EXP per hour scenarios, and it's very easy to reach level 100 if you keep just doing the carries all day. So when it comes to this build, it has undergone over 20 big iterations, and it would be for me impossible now to create a video about every single new iteration and going into every detail in every video. So instead, make sure to check the link down in the description. It's full written guide with as much detail as I could possibly include. It's written by me, and I will try to make it updated as much as I can. In this video I will just cover some basics on how the build works, but the several nuances and small details that can change basically every day. I also made another video that is, you can get to that video through the link in that guide, that is over 50 minutes long, where I'm talking about a lot of stuff. Some of that is already outdated, but a lot of that stuff is still, I guess, pretty good listening material. So if you want, you can check that for a longer explanation. So when it comes to this build, the basics of the build is to use Headhunter and Inspired Learnings. We are using 3 of them, and the base duration of those buffs granted by stealing the modifiers from monsters granted by Headhunter and Inspired last 20 seconds. If you go into a map with only 20-second duration on those buffs, this build wouldn't be nowhere near as much impressive as you can see. However, once you start extending those buffs with self-cursing temporal chains or using Solstice Vigil, which extends the duration of buffs and debuffs on you up to a slower expiry cap, which is 75%, then you basically quadruple the duration, and from 20 seconds it will be more than 1 minute, meaning that if you kill a monster at the start of the map, you will gain its modifiers, and without these kinds of extension mechanics, those buffs would fall off in the middle of the map. However, with these extension mechanics, the buffs will persist pretty much even at the end of the map, and it creates a huge snowball effect. So let me show you quickly the forum thread I was talking about. Everything here is written by me. I will try to make it as updated as I can. You can see that there is a path of building, there is everything explained as much as I could. The gear here, I tried to make it as visual as possible, so if you don't want to read too much, you can just look at pretty images, I guess. And let me now show you some stuff in the game. So currently I'm replaying the build as Berserker. This is a Berserker, and I would like to share some thoughts whether Berserker or Slayer is better. So in my opinion, Slayer is better in maps, but in the conflict zone the Berserker is better for the carry, because if you go for a Blitz, that directly gives you as if 40% more damage, because that reduced crit strike chance that you get per Blitz charge is basically neglectable, because you are stealing so many critical strike modifiers from monsters that you will be at 100% crit strike chance up all the time. So this is basically no downside on the Blitz. I tried going for Aspect of Carnage, but that increased damage taken is actually very noticeable, and I was dying all the time. So when it comes to the build, again the basics is to use Shackles of the Wretched, Headhunter, and solstice vigil. In theory, you don't have to use solstice vigil, but then you need to have a lot more curse effectiveness, which may not be worth, depending on your setup. You may be using Zerfri's Heart, you may be using Eul's Amulet that will remove the mana reservation from Hatred. That kind of depends. I am going for the setup with a Solstice Vigil, because with Solstice Vigil you need only 45% curse effectiveness for your temporal chains to cap yourself at 75% slower expiry rate of buffs and debuffs on yourself. If you wouldn't use Solstice Vigil, then you would need 75% curse effectiveness on temporal chains to reach the 75% slower expiry rate for buffs and debuffs on yourself. Remember, the best in slot helmet enchant will probably always be the temporal chains curse effect, which is 30%, and if you are using Solstice, then you have 30% here, then you have curse on hit, which is up to 11%, and with only the gem and the helmet enchant you are pretty much already at 41% curse effect, so that's very close to the cap with the Solstice Vigil. And you can basically get to the full cap if you would use Conqueror's Potency, which will give you the remaining 4%, so that will cap you at the curse effect with Solstice. Without Solstice, you would probably have to use Glorious Vanity Jewel, as I am explaining somewhere in the guide, in the older video, and then you would need to be lucky to get the ancient hex nodes that would give you the curse effect from corrupting the old nodes. Let me just go quickly through gear. I already did that, but some important parts of the gear is a ring to reduce the mana cost of your skills, because you need to have free mana cost, because you're gonna have so much attack speed that there is no way to leech this all back. One weapon is Prismatic Eclipse, which has 3 white sockets that gives you global modifier to your weapon range that gets added on top of your foil, and you craft your foil with an essence to get +3 weapon range. Make sure to check the link down below for the guide to see which essence and also other details how to craft it. Once you craft it, you just multi-mod extra damage on it. Then also we have to use Chaos Roots. That's pretty much a mainstay in the build unless you are a Juggernaut with the Unstoppable, because otherwise the temporal chains would just slow you and you wouldn't be able to move. And also when it comes to chests, at the time of the recording of the video, in my opinion, the best chest is either Carcass Jack or a rare chest where you would craft extra curse, and you could also craft reduced mana cost to the socketed gems, which means you don't have to go for the reduced cost on the ring, and it allows more variability for the rings. Offhand, remember, offhand is important, Sinvicta's Metal, because you're just gonna weapon swap into offhand to gain rampage, and then you're gonna weapon swap back into your dual wield, and the rampage will persist. So again, more details down below in the description, in the written guide, and also the older video, which is over 50 minutes long, will probably cover some more questions you may have had, also down in the description. So until then, hope you enjoyed this build, and make sure to leave, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see ya in the next video. Goodbye.
Okay, so yeah, I stream every day on Twitch at twitch.tv/cutenedog_. Those are my thoughts on the build so far, and you can watch me there live every day, by the way, and maybe you guys can ask any questions you have there. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you everyone. Bye.